such a uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Well, looky what we have here. Joe's new digs. What a beautiful looking studio, brother. Mazel tov. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That means congratulations in my native tongue.
Your native tongue, yes. And thank you. It's happy to be in this new space, new studio, new potential, so much more room, so many more things are going to happen. So it's it's exciting. Good times, exciting days.
Yeah, now I have to up my game. This 25-year-old setup is not going to be. It's not working anymore.
I wonder if the back of the phone is starting to disintegrate.
It might be
from all the gluing and re-gluing and re-gluing and.
You know what's funny though? I don't glue. I use glue. I actually use staples. Believe it or not, I use a staple gun.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's actually probably better.
100%.
So, yeah.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. We just had people on hold, and then they hung up as soon as I heard Joe's voice. That seems to be a common theme.
I get that all the time.
If you're new to the broadcast, don't know who we are, why we are here, this is the Hair Loss Show. Been doing this broadcast for quite a long time, just about all of my adult life, in some iteration or another. Was on the radio for about 11 some odd years, and then went over to XM radio. So I was on terrestrial radio, satellite radio, the internet. You guys are still going bald. I mean, I can't end this thing. I've been trying to since I started this. But
I'd like to interject and say real quick, if you're new to the program, don't know who we are, what we're doing here, can you find out, please? Because we don't know either.
And we're not doctors.
Just saying. And we're not doctors. Medical disclaimer, we are not doctors. Here we go. Back to you.
But it's the same thing. We basically do the same show every week or whenever we do it, because there's 200,000 of us waking up every day, at least here in the U.S., and millions worldwide, who are realizing they're losing their hair for the first time. And they're freaking the F out. They have no idea where to turn, what to do. You know where they're going? They're going to TikTok now. It used to be the Yellow Pages. It used to be, the back of men's magazines or muscle magazines or whatever. Now they just log in. They look up something about hair loss on TikTok or Instagram. Then they start being fed all this nonsense. Then they may end up on Reddit or wherever. And it's on. The confusion is there. They don't know where to turn. They don't understand the reality of this industry, who's telling the truth, who's selling you what. And sadly, most of you guys will, especially new people, end up buying thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars worth of bullshit at first. Waste precious time, not just money, because time equals follicles, as Alan Bauman says.
That's a good saying.
And by the time you decide to get on real treatment, you could be 3, 4, 5 years into your hair loss, and you may not be able to recover. And even worse, there's a very strong chance in today's market that you're going to fly somewhere outside of your zip code and country to jump on the surgical bandwagon. And most of you young guys are not candidates for hair transplant surgery. That's just the reality. Almost every young guy that flew to Turkey, for instance, today, sat in that chair, if they were under 25 years old, will be disfigured, if not immediately, within a few short years. I say this all the time now. It's not 5% or 10%. It's not. You're not the anomalies. The anomalies are the guys that will end up having long-term success with these early, large-scale hair transplants. Those will be the anomalies. We're seeing it all happen now. when the so-called Fight the Fight campaign started from the ISHRS, which don't even get me started. I heard somebody talking about that on a video with our friend Ricardo Mejia the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's frightening that they even think that that made any kind of impact on anyone. The industry has grown 50-fold since they started that campaign, maybe more.
I know.
The so-called black market.
I know. Well, it's been, what, 6 years, 7 years now?
Yeah.
When they first
I was a
pitched
young
that
man.
to us. Yeah. Man, you were in your 50s.
I was in my 50s.
God, that's
back
forever
then.
ago.
Yeah. I had a brown mustache still.
Oh, my God. Brown facial hair.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Guys, phone number 888-659-3727. But I'm watching this nonsense. You know that guy that does that roadshow podcast? And I'm watching that nonsense and just like, God almighty, you guys are patting yourself on the back for essentially making I believe, the industry worse than it's ever been. These guys, in my view, that organization created this model. This model was just scaled because of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you know, some of the early
How's my hair, Joe?
fantastic.
Thank you.
By the way, I didn't want to just volunteer it to make it look like, you know, it was like a setup.
Yeah.
But no, it looks on point.
All right, perfect.
What's interesting about that is the model was set by some of the big names in the industry 30 years ago. You got David Seeger in Toronto, where he would come in, cut out a strip, and leave to go do another strip. He would have 4 or more surgeries in a day, and his technicians were not just cutting up the strip; they were making recipient site incisions and placing all the grafts.
The limbers were doing the same
Seeger
thing.
Was celebrated as being a pioneer, an envelope pusher, and of course, Bobby Limmer, the father of follicular unit transplantation, introducing microscopes to change the industry for the better, no question about it. Same thing, stick in place, cutting out the strip and he'd be out by 2:00 and go play golf.
And he was the president of the ISHRS. He was getting some of the best results out there. Everyone knew that his technicians were doing all the work. Was it legal back then? Well, all I know is that.
All I know is no one gave a shit.
No one gave a shit, exactly. And to try to somehow differentiate what was happening back then to what's happening now just because you're losing your market share is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I heard Ricardo saying how, the ISHRS, is really, their members and their fellows. It's all about surgeons performing surgery and not delegating to technicians. And I have to laugh. The biggest names in the industry are delegating to technicians. The biggest names in the ISHRS are delegating to technicians. Guys who apparently or claimed to have, what was that they did years ago? Take the pledge. Not to do that. They're all using technicians or PAs.
They were doing that, as they said, right at the same moment they said that they weren't doing
The only reason they were able to sign that pledge is because they were delegating that day. They had time to sign the pledge. Anyway, the entire industry, it's just everyone's just so full of shit. It's ridiculous. But listen, we're providing the truth here on this show. Phone number is 888-659-3727. And that's it. Truth about the industry, truth about the people in the industry, truth about the reality of hair transplant surgery. You think these guys want me to say that today's hair transplant surgery, for the most part, is not going to last the way that hair transplant surgery did 15 years ago? They don't want to say that. They just want to say there's a black market and then there's ethical doctors who are fellows of that nonsensical organization, in my view. And that's it. That's how they want to differentiate themselves and keep their market share. And they are losing because, in my view, they are lying. In my opinion, based on the knowledge that I have. Maybe they're not lying. But from what I understand, from what I know about the field, they're not putting the truth out there. What do you think about that, Joe? Yeah. I mean,
well, okay. Actually, I've said this before when we've talked about this subject about, they're not putting the truth out there, in different terms, maybe. I think sometimes they think that they are, because the truth as they understand it is different than reality. Because they work in these bubbles, these little microcosms of reality on how they do things. I'm not talking about anything specific, just in general, the way they perceive the market or the way they perceive their colleagues. They just don't get it sometimes.
I think you're being very diplomatic and kind when you say that, because I believe that they know. They're the ones who are talking about, they're seeing bad work from so-and-so, bad work, and they're all members of this organization. And behind each other's backs, they're saying, I know he's using technicians. It's a fucking joke.
Well, what I'm talking about, like just in general, not specifically regarding this, but in general, sometimes... And look, I've been there. I understand that. And I think about a conversation I had with a very well-known doctor. I assumed that he was very aware of his own industry. And when I mentioned to him what the actual, we weren't talking about the quote-unquote black market, but we were talking about the explosion of these clinics that aren't really doing things the right way. And I mentioned to him that they're not even using microscopes, that the majority of clinics working today don't even use microscopes. He thought I was pulling his leg. He's like, what are you talking about? You don't tell me that. That's ridiculous. Of course they are. I'm like, Doc, you have no clue what you're talking about. Majority of clinics do not use microscopes today. And he just thought that was outrageous. He couldn't believe. I mean, he originally came around to believing, but he had no concept of that.
No.
Because like I said, he's in his own little bubble and thinks that, things are being done a certain way at most clinics, if not all. And so, back to my original point.
Yeah,
I'm not just trying to be diplomatic or I'm not trying to be diplomatic here. I do think that it's a case of, like, in some cases it's pure arrogance and pure grandstanding and posturing, but there is, to a degree, an element of ignorance to their own industry.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I just noticed that your video has subtitles. I mean, captions.
Yes. I enabled that.
That's very
for
cool.
Those that
I should look at your video more often.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I wanted to see. I mean, I see it on my monitor, obviously, but I wanted to see what it looked like on your channel. And I have to tell you, brother, I'm gonna put the shot over to you. I mean, your studio just looks unbelievable, man.
Thank you. I'm not even done with it.
I know. Don't overdo it. It's perfect. You can add some lights if you want, whatever. But I mean, it looks really clean.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was going for. I was going for a complete overhaul, modernization, and there'll be a couple little accents will be added. I got more sound treatment to do in the room in general. It's still a little bit hollow as far as the sound, but as long as it's okay right now on the microphone, is my sound okay? By the way,
it's great. It's fine. But just don't add any like images of like hair follicles behind you or anything.
Oh, come on. I want to have a hair follicle and say, have a hairy good day or something like that. No?
There are people out there who do that. Phone number is 888-659-3727. Sorry for the late start, guys. Sorry for the slow start. I'm just getting my brain together. I had a late start myself today, had a late workout, kind of rushed into the studio. Joe was a little late. It is what it is. But we do the show for free, so deal with it. We're here to help. Here's some phone calls. Let's take one.
Yay.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Is this one me?
Yeah, that's you.
It is you.
Yes. All right. This is Jonathan from the Midwest.
Hey, Jonathan from the Midwest. What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
Well, I called a number of years back about something, and now I'm kind of at a crossroads, so I thought I'd call again.
Okay.
So basically, when I called a few years ago, and this is a bit of a backstory, but I had been fine with shaving my head. But the issue was I had, at the time, an unknown allergy that caused me to get folliculitis and breakouts all over my skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten it fairly under control, especially in the last few weeks, but it's been a years-long journey. And I've often had my hair grown out a bit to cover it out in the interim. And I'm basically at a point where I'm debating whether or not I should shave my head again since it's been getting better, or get on oral minoxidil, which I've been on finasteride for 2 years now. And the reason I would be considering oral minoxidil is because if I keep my hair grown out a couple millimeters, I have kind of a balding pattern where the middle of my hair, middle of my scalp, I should say, is starting to thin out, and it's not noticeable anywhere except the dead center front of my hairline. So it just looks a little bit odd. So I'm debating whether or not I should take a chance and see how the allergy treatments have been doing with shaving my head, or if I'm going to keep my hair growing out, whether or not I want to try and do oral minoxidil to thicken up what I have in the front center of my hairline. So I just wanted kind of your guys' advice here.
Well, advice or opinion? You want us to give you permission to start taking meds, or what do you think? I mean, what would you really prefer for your life? You want to do your best to maintain a full head of hair and live your life that way, or do you think you could feel comfortable if everything's all healed up with a good head shave?
Well, if the allergy is completely stable, I would definitely go for the head shave. But I'm just like, I'm not 100% sure if the allergy is going to be good, even though I feel fairly confident.
What does your hair look like right now?
So I would say it's about a Norwood 4. I've never gotten it, officially diagnosed, but very thin in the crown. The hairline, it could be mistaken, I'd say, for maybe Norwood 3-ish, but could pass for 4. But it's just in the center of the scalp. You could see it kind of starting to thin and, form its own kind of Great Canyon.
Yeah.
But, only if you look closely. But the front center of the hairline, like I said, is where it's kind of like a pit. And since I'd been on finasteride for, I'd say 2.5 years now, nothing in my hair has moved an inch. So I've been a pretty good responder.
Okay, good. Well, here's the thing. We do know that low-dose oral minoxidil can, and we have some information on some new stuff that's happening with low-dose oral minoxidil, but we do know that a lot of guys who get on it, who respond well to it, who don't have adverse side effects, it can make a huge difference, for sure. We've seen some pretty tremendous recoveries. With that said, you're stable right now with your hair. As soon as you get on this drug within a few months, there's a good chance you're going to go through an effluvium. You're going to go through a shed. You have to be emotionally equipped to deal with that. And so things will get worse before they get better, and it's going to be a protracted kind of, wait and see situation to see how well you do with it. With that said, if you're keeping your hair relatively short, or if you're willing to keep your hair relatively short, and you're even considering shaving it, I mean, that may not be the worst thing in your particular situation if you're okay with losing some ground since you're considering shaving your head. But with that said, you're not 100% sure if what it's going to look like when you shave, because you're still, even though you don't think you have the allergies or the issues, you're not sure if it's there. Am I right about that?
I'm 100% sure there's nothing. My skin on my scalp is clear. It's just I worry because the allergy is so sensitive of it one day cropping up.
Yeah. And
when it crops up, because I've shaved my head before, it's really obvious and it can just be super embarrassing. So that's more of the anxiety.
Do you notice that it happens when you actually shave your head, from shaving itself?
It's from a dietary thing. It would happen if my hair was fully grown out or shaved. It's 100% a dietary thing.
What
Okay.
was the dietary issue? What did you discover that you had to clear out of your routine?
Well, it took me years to figure it out, and it's super niche, but essentially I'm allergic to all food. It's called a histamine intolerance. And so
Okay, yeah.
the histamine, causes allergy reactions, and all food to some degree has histamine in it. And
I know someone who deals with that, and it's not easy, brother.
Yeah, and I take supplements to, give me what I need to digest food. And I upped my dose in the last few weeks, and I started noticing, hey, this is like really good response. And so now I'm just kind of like at that crossroads.
What
where
supplements do you take? I'm just curious. I'm sure that my friend knows about them, but maybe I could provide some insight.
It's called Nature DAO. It's kind of one word. It's spelled NATURDAO.
Okay.
And if I take 2 of those with meals that I don't think are like safe for the allergy, it makes a world of a difference. I used to take 1 of them, but now I take 2.
Wow.
And it's in the last few weeks, it's made a world of a difference.
Hold on for 1 second, Joe. Something happened with your camera. I'm going to switch over to me.
Yeah, no, I had to reboot. It's okay. I'll try it again.
Okay. I mean, I do like seeing multiple versions of myself, but
Who doesn't?
yeah. But listen, brother, I mean, if you're able to control your allergies, if you're able to control, the reactions you're having on your scalp with diet, if you think that you're controlling it pretty well, then, I mean, first of all, it's great. I'm really happy for you. I guess the option of shaving your head is still on the table. But if you're asking what my advice would be is if you really would like to grow your hair, you're doing well on finasteride, but you understand that you could end up taking a few steps back by adding oral minoxidil, there's a good chance that it will stimulate more hair growth in the end. But with every drug, man, you're going to deal with potential side effects. How will these side effects affect your particular situation? We don't know. That's something you have to discuss with your doctor.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. When you say I could take have a effluvium, would that be more likely to happen kind of like I said, my pattern where it was going to target if I didn't get on finasteride would like create, a whole landing strip, Grand Canyon, where it all goes down the middle and spreads from there. Would you say it's more likely to do that, or just you can't even say? It could be random.
No, it'll be your entire scalp. You will lose hair from back, sides, top. I mean, it becomes a complete diffuse effluvium. It's not just in your balding areas. Now it's going to be more noticeable in your balding areas. But when
that's just the.
When you trigger telogen effluvium, it happens all over the scalp. Back, sides, top, front.
Is that specific to the type of effluvium you're describing? Is that specific to this drug, or just you're talking about in general?
No, it's very common in topical and low-dose oral minoxidil, but it also happens with finasteride. So anytime you use any of these medications, and even with low-level laser light therapy, if it's effective, if it's an effective device, you could cause your hair to shift into from an anagen phase and move quickly into a telogen phase. Mm-hmm. So basically you're shocking your hair out. And it's temporary, but it's something you have to deal with.
Well, let me put it this way. Since, I've spent a number of years in this interim kind of going back and forth between the shaved and like a couple millimeters, couple weeks worth of growth. And, no matter what, I'm going to stay on finasteride just because I have no issues with it. Might as well keep what I have, and it's a pretty cheap medication. If I were to shave again and everything goes well with the allergy, if I were to get on oral minoxidil at the time,
you wouldn't notice any
then
effluvium.
I would kind of be covering, So
that's the best of both
be a
worlds.
pretty good plan.
And anyone who can do that wins, as long as you're not having any adverse side effects from the drugs.
Yeah, like obviously from the heart problems with minoxidil. But if I were to, let's say I get in a couple weeks, a couple months of the shave look, not having allergic reactions, and then, they start cropping up again, having been on the oral minoxidil, that might be at the point where the area I'm concerned about in the front center of my hair is thicker, and it'll be less embarrassing to have the grown out look.
Yeah.
Does that sound like
listen,
a reasonable plan?
100%. And if you can cut it short or shave it or just cut it very short, you're not going to see all that hair in the sink. It's not going to be noticeable to anybody else. They're just going to see that you've cut your hair very short or buzzed it or shaved it. And you could avoid that whole emotional roller coaster of going through a tremendous shed or even a small shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Now that I'm talking to you guys, it sounds like a kind of, like you said, the best of both worlds. I can,
the thing is, you got to talk to your doctor about it. You have to recognize that you could have adverse side effects. You may want to start or talk to your doctor about titrating the low-dose oral minoxidil just to avoid or to help to mitigate some side effects. It sounds like you're on a pretty specific diet, so it's probably, I'm assuming that you're eating less processed foods, maybe you're eating less carbs. I don't know. I mean, what's your situation?
Well, I never really had without the supplements or even with the lower doses of supplements I was taking, a diet that I could reasonably live off of and not have side effects.
Right.
But now that I up the dose of the supplements I take, I'm so far able to eat whatever.
And how many months is
this? I'm still, since I started the supplements or since I upped my dose?
But upped your dose, since you've been able to actually essentially mitigate any side effects from food.
Only a couple weeks, but I can tell when I eat something that's bothering me because I can almost feel an itching sensation where I'm going to break out, and then a few hours later it's visible.
Yeah.
But it's only been a couple weeks since I upped the dosage, and visually it's a world of difference, and just like internally I can feel the difference. And so far I can eat anything, but I'm still somewhat careful in that, like, I'm not having processed foods that are like snacks, that sort of thing, just because, number one, I don't want to economically waste supplements on just snacking on a bag of chips or any kind of snack for that matter. I'm mainly eating meals themselves.
Well, but at your point, when you're dealing with that, just being able to eat a meal, of whole food, chicken or meat or whatever, I mean, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
So
it really is. Like today, I went for after work drinks with some coworkers, and anyone who knows anything about this condition, alcohol and beer and wine are huge triggers. And I went for a beer, and I feel really fine. This is the second time I've tried experimenting with alcohol.
I thought you were a little drunk when you first called in.
Well, you got to be a little drunk.
People were asking about
it,
right? People were messaging saying, "Was that guy drunk?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, listen, brother. First of all, I want to say congratulations. I'm glad you're feeling better, and that's amazing. Yeah. And I think you are in a good position because you're emotionally equipped to cut your hair very short or to shave it while you start this medication. So, in a few months, that if you would have gone through a shed, you most likely will. You never even notice it. Yeah. I think that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brother?
Would it affect, last question, would it affect the effluvium you're talking about where it affects all over? Would it affect like my beard area?
No. Yeah. Well, what may affect your beard is you actually may end up growing thicker body hair and beard hair. But but I've never heard of anyone shedding facial hair. But the thing is, facial hair grows. Yeah, no, it's a different cycle. So, I mean.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it either, but when you were saying like all over, I got slightly worried. But all sounds good. I think that's a solid plan, and thanks for.
But if you have to start shaving your back, you never called us, all right?
Oh boy!
All right, brother. Good luck.
All right,
thanks for the call.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Good luck.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. We are live. This is the Hair Loss Show. Joe Tillman's got his new studio, and I actually have you up side by side looking at you on my monitor and looking at you on YouTube. I have to tell you, the stream's pretty damn clear.
It is, yeah.
It's pretty crystal. I mean, when I look at you natively, I could see like in myself, I could see every line on my face, whatever it is. I mean, it's just it's like an HD 4K. But this is really good. I don't look at the stream enough.
I didn't want to before. Now I kind of like it.
I try not. I think it's distracting. Like I'll go in. I'll keep it small, and once in a while I'll look at the chat. Like, these pricks who are saying I have John Bolton's hairstyle, but whatever. That's all right. I'll just file that shit away.
I do look at it only because I have to. I have to monitor the, how it's looking. I have to monitor, the chat, make sure there's no one, being a jerk off to the other guys or to us. To us, I don't care, but to the other guys, no little fights breaking out.
What I normally do is I move my screen all the way to the left, and I'll just see the chat like on the left side of my screen because I don't want to be bothered by the visual of oh Jesus, I gotta look at Joe twice.
I know. That's what my wife says. So,
dude,
thank you, On Call 21. Thank you for the comment. Studio looks and sounds good, Joe. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm telling you, man, this is like the best upgrade in hair loss.
Suddenly, men's hair starts regrowing across the world because of Joe Tillman's new studio. Dun, dun, dun.
No, I think it's really
great. Good segue into the topic of the day. Thank you. I appreciate that. It feels good. It does look good. I'm very, very pleased with the
before we segue, let's
aesthetic.
take a call because these guys don't have patience.
They really don't. Okay, let's go.
Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? You see? Call, I'll give you...
They're like doctors that offer FUT, no patience.
Oh, damn. Well, he hung up already. Fuck him.
All right.
So what's up?
No, well, we're talking about the topic of today's show is potentially...
I already forgot what that topic is.
Big hair loss news, big hair loss treatment news. And I'll go ahead and let me pull up the screen. So it's a lot of info, and I have to say that I'm getting my info from our friend Anand at hairlosscure2020.com, an invaluable resource for hair loss treatment news and information, and a fantastic supporter of what we do. And he is an American Hair Loss Association trusted content creator.
Yes,
so
he is.
It's good stuff. So there's two companies that, well, just to backtrack a little bit. I remember when you were talking about Stimson Pharmaceuticals, and they got their $25 million investment seed money round two.
Yeah.
Round two seed money, venture money. That was massive news at the time.
Yes.
No, up to that point, no one had even come close to that. I think it doubled the previous cash haul of a biotech firm trying to tackle the hair loss treatment segment. Well, Veridermics, they have what's called the VDPHL tablet for hair loss. And what this is, it's a time-released oral minoxidil tablet. And they got, in Series C financing, they got $150 million in financing. That is amazing news. So I'll go ahead and read directly from.
I'll just
sorry.
Before you do that, what these guys have to understand what this means is, first of all, we're talking about a new pharmaceutical. There has not been a new pharmaceutical put on the market or approved for hair loss in 30 years. So while this is, based on essentially it's low dose oral minoxidil, it is a kind of a unique type of low dose oral minoxidil. So it's a pretty huge situation. And really what this means is that investors believe that the company's really close to bringing this to market. There's only two reasons why you get $150 million in round C funding. That's either there's about to be an IPO, or in a case like this drug is almost guaranteed to come to market.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting about it.
And credit to Anand, he really writes a great article here. And I'm pretty sure it's not with the help of ChatGPT or anything, because he's always written well before AI came out. So I'll read verbatim from the website. Veridemics is working on a new extended release oral minoxidil tablet to treat AGA. The product is called VDPHL, as well as VDPHL01, and is currently in phase 3 clinical trials. The top half of the post contains new updates in reverse chronological order, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so yesterday we heard, and this kind of segues into the other company. I'll mention it because that's what the article does. Pelage Pharmaceuticals, which has the PP405, yesterday in Series B financing, they pulled in $120 million. So there's a lot of money being thrown at hair restoration right now, hair loss treatments, and that's exciting. Series C for Veridemics, $150 million, and this is after they raised $75 million just last year in Series B financing. So that was a huge deal too. That blows Stimson out of the water by a factor of 3. Such numbers are unheard of in the hair loss world. Veridemics is already conducting multiple phase 3 trials for the hair growth product VDPHL. For context, in 2021, the esteemed Riken and Dr. Takashi Tsuji of Japan were finding it difficult to even raise $5 million, and even asked hairlosscure2020.com to help them with the goal. And in 2025, Yunt Biotech in China is finding it tough to raise just $2 million to move forward with their hair cloning work. See the most recent comments from reader Jan Midza in that Yunt post. In late 2024, the hyped Stimson Therapeutics folded because it could not raise sufficient funds to continue operations. Many other hair loss companies that have been discussed on this website in the past have folded due to lack of funds to proceed with tedious clinical trials and approval processes. Now, I got a visual to share on screen just a moment. And the earlier mentioned press release from Veridemics, they do not mention any other ingredient besides the extended release oral minoxidil in the VDPHL01 tablet. They do provide some great before and after hair growth photos from phase 2 trials. And I'm going to show that here. Spencer, you can throw this up on the screen. Here we go. And that's some pretty good before and afters. And I can't say this is any better than any other oral minoxidil tablet, but this is the outcome of their time release version of oral minoxidil.
Well, that's the whole point.
And
The drug's being designed to deliver the drug slowly and kind of like steadily throughout the day, like any other time release. But what they think this is going to do, and what they've seen so far, is that it's going to reduce some of the more serious and even the less serious adverse side effects. And these side effects really come from these major blood pressure spikes that happen when you dose low-dose oral minoxidil. So if you can mitigate the side effects, not having to worry about the cardiac issues, not having to worry about the periorbital edema or the other edema that you're dealing with, and you get this type of growth stimulant, it's going to be a blockbuster. And that's why it's getting so much funding. And it's also the reason why these cloning – I should put the camera on myself. The reason why these cloning companies didn't get a lot of funding is because, people and investors understand how pharmaceuticals work. Someone gets on this drug, it's a lifetime commitment. Yeah. And they're buying the drug over and over and over again. And if it's effective, which we know that low-dose oral minoxidil is, with far less incidence of adverse side effects, it's going to be a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Unless something 100%. Else comes down the pike. And how likely is that? So this is basically obviously things happen. They still have to get through phase 3. It's very possible that something, it's not very possible, but it's possible that something may not be 100% kosher. Something may go wrong. They may find some sort of weird, a group of people with some weird adverse events Who knows with the FDA what they're going to do? But the truth is, judging from this investment and the fact that they've already raised $225 million in total, I'm pretty sure this is going to come to market. And oral minoxidil has been on the market for since 1972, I think.
Well, the other thing is, my dad used to take it over 50 years ago. But the other thing to realize is that they could actually decide after the trials that it's not so much different than what's on the market now, and just decide, it's not worth moving forward. That's unlikely, but that is something that could come about. Because
I think what's going to happen is that the FDA is just so inundated, and there's so much negative media, about finasteride, that if there's something that is presented to them that we already know is, for most people, is relatively safe. It's been on the market for a very long time. Figured out a way to slow release this medication to mitigate the possible side effects. And it's going to work for both men and women. It's not just going to be approved for men. It's going to be approved for people, men and women, with androgenetic alopecia. I think it's going to be a slam dunk. I don't think there's going to be any issues with getting FDA approval, and I think the company kind of knows that. I don't think they're concerned about the size of the market or their market share. They will dominate the market.
What's interesting about this is I didn't realize it. As I move through here, I'll just continue on. But there's an interesting point on here. Early study finds extended release minoxidil grows more hair. An optimistic summary of the results from a 20-person phase 2 trial with volunteers taking 8.5 milligrams twice daily for 4 months. In the control groups, 33 patients received 5 milligram immediate release oral minoxidil once daily for 6 months, and 34 patients received 1 milliliter of 5% topical minoxidil solution twice daily for 6 months as well. Investigator global assessment was the primary outcome that was measured, and the IGA ratings were made by blinded investigators. The summary contains an interesting quote from Dr. Jerry Shapiro, who has a financial relationship with Verodynamics, which is important to point out. But Jerry Shapiro, he's a big researcher from University of British Columbia here in Vancouver, and he used to be in the surgical hair restoration space just down the street from where I was working at Hassan Wong. And I'm kind of surprised that he's still in the game, because he's getting up there. But it also tells me that it gives me a little bit of confidence about this, because the man knows what he's talking about when it comes to hair loss treatments, and he was a big proponent of minoxidil, oral minoxidil early on, just like a few other big names in the industry. So that's actually nice to see. But it's a big deal, the whole thing. And we didn't even touch on Pelage Pharmaceuticals.
To me, what's really important, where I see the value, when I see the real possibilities, is we know the market share. This particular investment round was what was it called? Oversubscribed. So basically, there were more people that wanted to invest money than there were shares to be bought for investment. That's huge. That doesn't happen unless the company's about to be acquired, like I said, or it's going to be an IPO, or in this case, almost guaranteed drug approval. Like, people want in. And I totally understand that. So understanding the market the way that I do, understanding to some degree investments the way that I do, this is why I think this is going to come to market. There are other effective treatments in the pipeline that will never come to market, but we know this makes sense to people, and it's going to make sense to the FDA as well. And I think the same thing is, it's exciting. PP405 is exciting just based on Michael Young's, is that his name? Young? Yeah. Michael Young's involvement. He has already proven himself in this market space, in the pharmaceutical space. And he was behind 2 blockbuster, multi-billion-dollar prostate drugs that, UCLA made billions of dollars in royalties from this drug. Yeah. So he's already proven himself. That's the way the world works. You can make money if you can prove yourself. If there's real money to be made, you're going to get investments, and these drugs are going to be pushed through. So
Well,
I'm excited.
Speaking of Pelage, phase 3 trials 2026 coming up. And this was published yesterday, so it's we kind of got in front of the cart with that first read. But it says in insane development, Pelage just raised $120 million in Series B financing, and that's even a bigger deal because the first one was Series C, third round. So this is almost as much in second round funding. And it was co-led by Arch Venture Partners and Google Ventures, which was in on the original investment behind this. With participation from a few existing investors, the amount might be a record in the hair loss world. Well, now it's not. No wonder this the post on the hairlosscure2020.com has over 900 comments, an all-time high for the website. That's a big deal for interest as far as that goes. So good for him. The financing will support the continued advancement of Pelage's lead program, PP405, a topical small molecule designed to reactivate dormant hair follicle stem cells, offering a potential first-in-class approach for both men and women experiencing hair loss. There's nothing further about any sort of results or anything. It's just a financial announcement. And what that indicates is high confidence in the final product with some big names, Google Ventures.
Well, here's the thing. I think also there's kind of like a fight now. There's going to be kind of a battle to get this. Whoever gets this in the market first is going to win to some degree. Now, PP405 is a topical that's supposed to actually not just reawaken dormant hair follicles, but maybe reawaken hair follicles that have essentially people thought were dead. Guys like with Formica heads. Now, we do know that, well, we don't necessarily know that because this is relatively new. But so if that's possible, and you have a growth stimulator like low-dose oral minoxidil with far fewer side effects or maybe no side effects that they, I mean, at least according to what I'm reading, it seems to almost completely mitigate these side effects. That's exciting stuff. I mean, but what people have to understand is you're still going to have to be on a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. That's just the way it is. Now, not necessarily women, because most women can't take it. But if you have androgenetic alopecia, none of these products, these potential drugs, these compounds, are addressing the hormonal aspects of androgenetic alopecia. So while it's incredible news, we may have to be on a combination of medications now to really get the hair growth we wanted that we may not be getting from finasteride alone, or just to kind of extend or protract the life of our heads of hair. Like for me, I'm not taking low-dose oral minoxidil. I'm concerned about adverse side effects. I'm also concerned about going through an effluvium. But if I knew that I could take a drug that really I have much less of a chance of having serious adverse side effects, I'd feel a lot more comfortable taking it. And maybe I would cut my hair short.
Potentially the big three will wind up being finasteride, PP405, and the Veridermics.
Yeah.
So the new big three.
The problem is a lot of people are going to avoid finasteride and just get on these drugs. It's going to be great. They're going to get some initial hair growth, but it will be temporary. But here's the good news, though. I mean, if you can keep your hair in an anagen phase longer using a drug like minoxidil, that can give you 3-4 years of a hair cycle. You may extend that 2 times. So you may be able to keep your hair for another decade just on these medications alone, which is huge for most people. We've never really had that opportunity. Yeah. So I think it's exciting. Boys. And I will have more information on this soon. I may be doing something for the new YouTube channel, which I haven't even started yet. But you're like any day now, Spence. Any day. I know, Joe. I file that away. File all away. But yeah, we should have some more information on it soon, and maybe doing some interesting interviews. I am not one to get excited about anything in this field.
No, I'm excited by the numbers, the financing side of things, which is an indicator of legitimacy. Like $2 million, $5 million, that barely covers supplies and salaries. Much less, anything else. So that doesn't mean anything. 120 million. Once you start getting into that realm, that means something is going to happen. So it's encouraging on that front, as far as I'm concerned. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on it.
No, I actually think. Listen, I honestly believe if they
like Spencer.
It seems like they're able to mitigate these adverse side effects. It makes sense to me. You're not spiking someone's blood pressure, even though this is a blood pressure lowering medication. But these fluctuations aren't causing these issues. Or if you don't have these fluctuations, you're not going to have some of the same issues. I think that's great. And I think that this is going to be something that every hair doc is going to prescribe, every dermatologist is going to prescribe. It will be the go-to. It'll hurt the newer prescription subscription-based models, which I actually think is fine, because it was one thing when these companies were coming out with topical minoxidil and finasteride generics, and they were providing it. I thought at the time when companies like Keeps and Him started, it was a good service. While I'm not a fan of these kind of, these companies that are less transparent about where they're sourcing their products from and where they're sourcing their generics from, or whether or not they are switching out medications on their subscribers without them knowing it. I did think that it really opened up a new door when people were really, for a while, and they still are, but they were really super concerned about getting on these medications, and they were losing a lot of ground. And it kind of opened up a door for a younger generation to at least give this a shot. With that said, it's a double-edged sword, like I've always been talking about. But now there's these companies that are putting these compounded pills together. I'm not a fan of that.
No. Finasteride, oral, or finasteride, minoxidil, dutasteride, Viagra.
Someone just asked me about a new product that has oral dutasteride, oral finasteride, and oral minoxidil in one pill. Now, first of all, dutasteride has to be in an oil base for it to be really effective, from what we understand. So having it in pill form, I don't even know how that works. But besides all that, why would that be your first line of attack as a young person? It's all marketing. It makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense. No, it makes perfect sense. Why should I listen to these old guys on YouTube talking about?
Speak for yourself, brother.
Taking 3-4 years just to find the combination that works. When I've got this right here, I can just throw the kitchen sink at it and be done with it and move on. Like, that makes a lot of sense if you don't know any better. So I can see absolutely why people be doing that. It's North America. Why skimp? Throw everything you got at it. Let's crush it, yo. That's the attitude, and I get it, but it's the wrong way to.
It would be really difficult for me to get involved with any of these companies, and I've been having problems. I told you, you know the story about these companies applying for American Hair Loss Association trusted brand status, and it's just getting worse and worse. So maybe this will change things. Let's take a phone call.
We'll see. Yeah.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Spencer.
Yeah.
Joe.
Hey.
It's Rez.
Rez, what's happening, brother?
Rez, what's up, man?
How you guys doing? How's it going?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Can't complain, man.
That's good.
What's up?
It's interesting news about these new drugs. To be honest with you, I'm a little skeptical of the long-acting minoxidil because when I looked up obviously the half-life of oral minoxidil isn't very long, but it still goes into the tissue and it stays there. So I don't see how anything long-acting is going to make the efficacy any better for hair growth. But I mean, if that were the case, why wouldn't, like for me, I'm on 10 milligrams.
Well, it's not about it. It's not about it. Even though they did say that it seemed to be more effective, we don't know about that. But it's more about mitigating the adverse side effects. You're not having any, but there are a lot of people who do deal with adverse side effects. And if you can mitigate those side effects by a slower release, it's not about keeping it in the body necessarily longer, while it will, but it's more about releasing it into your body more slowly. That's where the benefit is probably going to lie.
For side effects.
Yes.
But not so much for growth.
Not for efficacy, even though there is a claim currently, for their last trial that it seemed to people on the slow release or extended release seem to have better results. I don't know. We're going to have to take a closer look at that. But for me, what makes sense is the slow release to mitigate side effects.
That makes sense. I'm more excited about this PP405 because it's such a novel approach.
It is.
Has there ever been a drug like it that had this big hype that was supposed to do similar things that just didn't get approved and that fell through, just fizzled out?
No, I mean there have been hormonal based topicals that didn't get approved and just fizzled out. And one in particular is RU58841, which didn't really fizzle out because now it's all over the place again. But it's really been sold as an experimental treatment, and not even a treatment, just kind of like, I forgot how they refer to it, but it's like an experimental compound. But no, to answer your question, no. This would be the first time since I've been in the field that anything like this has been even discussed.
What's your view on it? I mean, do you have high hopes?
I don't have high hopes. The hopes that I have is that I know that Michael Young is behind it, UCLA is behind it. They've already had tremendous success with anything that he's been involved in, or at least two major drugs he's been involved in. So I do think that if everything is safe and if it shows the efficacy that we think that so far it's showing, it will come to market. Do I think it's going to grow back a full head of hair for somebody? I don't know. I doubt it. But I don't have a crystal ball. I just don't know. Right now, there's not enough data. But there's enough data to show that somehow this is not just initiating or stimulating hair growth in dormant hair follicles. It seems to be, they're all dormant, but it seems to be growing hair in hair follicles that we didn't even realize were just, let me rephrase that. It's not just about growing vellus hair out, into terminal hairs. It seems to be working on dormant hair follicles that are not visible to the naked eye, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
According to the guy from moreplatesmoredates.com, he says that he doesn't think that hair follicles actually die because it appears that a lot of these guys that even have transition surgeries and therapies from men to women who've had extensive hair loss, once they go on these really heavy-duty hormonal treatments, a lot of them grow back their hair. I mean, almost all of them.
I don't think they die. There is an issue when the actual muscle from the hair separates and then you can't regenerate it. But in general, what were considered to be dead hair follicles were just dormant, like I just said. So guys who have been balding for a decade or more, we were seeing hair being regenerated or regrown just from low-dose oral minoxidil, miraculously. So I've never been a believer that hair follicles die. I always thought that was a myth. I used to say that on the radio many years ago. But doctors were just saying, once you're past 5 years, it's gone. And part of that was in the hair transplant trade, so.
Yeah.
Well, to get you to come in and get hair transplants.
Yeah, I never believed that. If you really take a close look at even the baldest guy's scalp, it's not like it's like a scalp of someone with alopecia areata. there's usually some degree of vellus hair that may not be completely visible to the naked eye. But if you take a dermatoscope or a digital microscope to the scalp, you're going to see these extremely, almost invisible vellus hairs, non-pigmented. Those could all grow.
Yeah. They say once there's, like, the muscle that causes the hair to stick up, when you get cold or,
Yeah, I just said that.
something. Yeah. Like you said, when that separates, the hair pretty much can never be rejuvenated. Is that right?
Well, that's what we think. And that makes
sense. What do
sense.
they call that?
I forgot the name of the muscle. Let me look it up.
Capillary muscle. Capillary muscle.
Yeah, it starts with a P. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah. It appears that's the only way that.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I agree with Spencer. I've never thought that hair follicles die.
It's the erector pullae muscles, and I don't know why I forgot that. Maybe it's because I'm getting old, but I didn't.
You're 60.
It wasn't even on. But the problem is, it wasn't even on the tip of my tongue. It was basically like I blacked out. Go ahead.
It was really far in the back of your head somewhere.
Yeah, like I'm not going to say, oh yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. I didn't even. I'm like, okay, I know there's a muscle there. I just talked about it, but I completely blacked out on the name.
No,
He's like, I don't even know where I am.
Yeah,
it's not on the tip of my tongue. I don't even. What state am I in?
Okay. These phones are changing our brain frequencies, man.
Listen, the entire world, my attention span has completely changed. I'm doing my best not to spend time on social media, except I'm trying just to look at my content and work with my own content. It's tough because I'll get like 17 reels from Tillman or some other people, and I gotta look at this stuff. But I'm really trying not to spend any time on the toilet looking at social media. It's really destroying my attention span.
The phones you remember everybody would read magazines or books on the toilet. Now everyone brings their phone.
Yeah. And they don't read anything. They're just scrolling. Quick dopamine hits. Boom, boom, boom.
3-second video.
Yeah.
2-second video. Next.
Yeah.
No, I know, man. Hey, have either one of you guys ever heard of hair loss from chronic hepatitis C? Is that a thing?
I guess it's possible. I've never heard of it though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you telling us that you have hepatitis C too?
So I had a blood transfusion when I had my surgery almost 30 years ago, and at the time, they weren't checking the blood, and I did get hepatitis C, and there were no treatments available at the time. I mean, there are now.
There are now, yeah.
Over the last couple of years, yeah. I mean, believe it or not, the treatment is insurance covers it, but it's about $130,000 just for the pills, and it's a 12-week course. Thank God the insurance company can cover it, but it's definitely they're making money on these treatments. But
of course, it's crazy.
Well,
I mean,
according to Gemini, hepatitis C can cause hair loss due to the effects of the virus on the liver or its treatments. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. Hair loss can be a symptom of severe liver damage, such as cirrhosis or end-stage liver disease, but it can also be a temporary side effect of some antiviral medications, which we do know, such as interferon. According to WebMD, HSE, and drugs.com, the virus can affect integumentary systems, which lead to hair and nail problems. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Neither one of you guys have actually met anybody that had hair loss from it, though.
No, no one's called in about it, and no one's told me they've had Hep C and lost their hair from it. So, I mean, I've never heard any of the doctors talk about it either. But it makes sense, like Joe just said.
Well, it causes a lot of inflammation in the body. My doctor said, well, you know, if you get rid of the virus, there's a good chance your hair will thicken up. So I'd be curious to see if it did anything. I'm planning on going on the treatment in about a month. It's
good luck, man.
Course. Yeah, you know, shouldn't be too bad. One pill a day, and you know, apparently your energy levels are really sapped when you have this virus, and it plays havoc on your hormones as well. You know, because the liver's primarily responsible for regulating a lot of hormones.
So you've been through so much, man, over the years.
Bro, I've been through a lot, man.
How old are you now?
I was in my 20s, and I went 51.
Okay.
I was in my 20s, 23, when I had to go in for emergency surgery, and I had ulcerative colitis, and they removed part of my colon.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, that was tough, man. That was a brutal disease. I don't wish it upon anybody, but you know, you kind of get used to just, you know, not having a colon. I mean, things become a little trickier with your timing of when you can eat, and you know, that kind of a thing. But that's the hardest part about it. And you know, having to go to the bathroom a little more often, obviously.
And with all of this, with everything you've been through in your life, you're still concerned about your hair, and that just shows how powerful hair loss is.
I know, man. No, it's because it's like the only thing that I think I can still control, which is weird. You know, the other thing, I work out a lot. I try and build muscle. I mean, I'm physically active. These are the things that I think, I can actually do something about it, right? Because sometimes you'll do treatment for a couple months, and then the hair, you know, it'll look a little bit better. And then the next month, well, maybe not so good. You're losing a little bit of ground. So you're always chasing this invisible trophy that you'll never actually catch, because no matter how good the hair looks, you're always wanting more. You know, it'll look really good, but then it's like, no, it can look better. And so, you know, it's never enough, you know, unless you have a full head of hair. You go to one of these doctors that are doing 14,000 grafts.
Yeah, that's only going to be temporary. You know,
that's temporary
for a lot of these guys. And here's what's important. You know, there's a guy that used to call the show. I think what's his name, Marco, if I remember correctly, or Marcus. Sorry, Marcus. He hasn't called in a long time, and he said something really interesting. And he had multiple operations. I think he had scalp lifts or male pattern reduction or all kinds of stuff. And he said, you know, there is life after hair loss, but it's really only like half a life, something like that. It's not a complete what your life could have been. And that's
something very lucid and poignant that we can't remember.
That we can't remember, yeah.
Well, doesn't it feel good, man?
A guy called once and said something really cool.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
That I've completely forgotten.
But that's so true. You know, this is a disease of the spirit. I should have trademarked that. Now, I never thought that I would have to.
I know, right?
But
should make T-shirts out of that.
But it is absolutely a disease of the spirit. And when you speak to guys who've been through it, older guys our age, or I'm older than you, and who have done fairly well, have maintained some hair. You know, you've had transplants. Joe looks great. You know, but it's still like it's not what it should. It's not what we wanted. We didn't sign up for this shit.
No.
You always want that. You know, I think about when I was younger, I used to go to the barber, and I used to ask them to use thinning shears on my hair because it was so thick.
Sure.
I used to have, I used to have that done too.
Look. Yeah. You know, now it's like if there were thickening shears.
I still have to have that done in certain areas because I will be like Bozo otherwise. Because the top, it just takes so long to grow compared to the sides and the back. And I have lost I'm definitely gotten some retrograde alopecia over the years. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, man, it's just, look, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah.
Hopefully I wake up tomorrow and it's not that much worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything
Well,
else.
I think if this PP405 comes around, we'll all be in a better position.
By the time that happens, we'll be eating baby food. You know what I'm saying?
Why didn't they go any longer than 8 weeks, Spencer? Because it appears that after 8 weeks, there was a pretty good amount of growth, 20%. Does that mean if there was a good amount of growth after 8 weeks, that the likelihood of somebody being on it for 4 or 5 or 6 months, did they just go at 8 weeks and go, okay, this is good, this stuff is going to work?
Trials
going to grow back.
Trials cost money. They do it long enough to prove whatever they need to prove in order to move forward.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're not going to take a year for the trial or 2 years for the trial. They're going to do it in the shortest amount of time allowed in order to be able to publish the results.
And move on to the next
Stage.
phase so that they can get it to market as soon as possible.
Exactly.
It's a good sign, though, that it grew back so much hair in such a short period of time.
Listen, I'm for the first time in my 30-year career, I actually think we're going to have more options. Now, the second time, when we knew dutasteride was going to come to market, it was approved in 2000. I was like, okay, you have a dual 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. At least it'll be able to be prescribed off-label. That was exciting, and it was big news in the hair loss game. Since then, there's been nothing. I was choked to death. You're killing me here.
It's worth to go on 2.5 milligrams versus 0.5?
I don't know. These are all good questions that I can't answer.
Yeah.
Rez, we're going to take another.
I talked to your doctor about that, bro.
Yeah, we're going to take another phone call. But man, you have been through. You've had some fucking life, man. You always. I'm not saying you sound super positive, but you always seem kind of positive.
Well, you have to be, man. You always have to look at. I keep my eyes on the one that can change everything, and that's God, man. He can, he's our creator. You keep your eyes on him, and I keep my eyes off of me and my problems, and my eyes on him, and things are okay.
Dude, that's fucking beautiful, by the way. Thank you.
I can't
well
keep my eyes on my problems. I'll go down the rabbit trail, man.
You know what? And that's actually that's
Yeah.
very important for young guys out there, because the younger guys, most young guys have not had to deal with what you had to deal with in your young life. You were young when this all started for you. So, in general, the worst thing that's happened to the younger guys who are in this world is hair loss, which is devastating. But they haven't seen a lot of loss in their lives. They have normal, they're healthy kids. So this is really affecting them emotionally. It's affecting their life. Listen, there's no doubt. That's why it is a cancer of the spirit or a disease of the spirit. But, you have been able to put everything into perspective in a way that not everyone finds that peace, brother. Not everyone finds that peace. There's a lot of guys our age or in our age group who have been through a lot themselves, and they end up just, they can't figure out a way to get past it and to live their lives and to live their lives to the best of their ability. And they just kind of live in this dark place. You don't sound that way. And I think that's, that's incredible.
I was there for a while, but, then you can't live there. You have to, something has to change.
Dude, that's inspirational, man.
You can visit it, but to live there, it's like, I get it. Thank you. That means a lot that you said that. I really mean that.
Well,
appreciate it.
Bringing this to the show is really important. I think it could put things into perspective for a lot of guys.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Well, we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
You guys have a good one.
You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you, Rev.
Now, if we can get him to have a more upbeat voice, he could be an inspirational speaker.
That would be an inspirational speaker, exactly.
Yeah, because this guy's got a fucking story, man. And he's a positive guy.
It's nice to see guys that have been through the mill, like like Rez has, still have a good attitude. And like our friend Adrian, who, plugs, wigs, the whole 9 yards. I mean, he's, had an amazing transformation. But even before that, I mean, he was still a pretty positive guy, fighting his own demons, dealing with the issues he've been through. But, it's nice to hear from guys like that. So I appreciate Rez, and I appreciate guys like that.
All the post-finasteride syndrome forums, or the the incel guys, or when you read some of this stuff, it's just like, it's just so heavy, man. Like no one can kind of it's very difficult to get out of that space. I understand it. I totally understand it. Let's see who this is. Yeah. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex from San Diego.
Alex, what's happening, man?
What's up, Alex?
Not much. They got to drop PP405 right now. We should stand outside the building with pitchforks until they do it.
Well, there's a couple of companies out there that are selling some sort of formulation that they're claiming is PP405, but selling it for experimental purposes only. I saw something online. So I'm sure a lot of suckers are buying that.
Huh. Dang.
He's looking up right now.
Alex is like, okay, I got to go. Bye. Credit card in hand.
What's
up, man?
Not much. Well, for now, my current situation, I got the Jude Law hair loss pattern, the island.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
you said you're Jude Law. You look like Jude Law without the face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I look just like him.
Yeah.
Except not the movie star. Good luck.
Right.
I look just like him, but I don't.
But that's it. So true. But I got his hair loss pattern pretty much right, exactly the same, and I've taken pretty aggressive photos over the years, and so I started finasteride when like 7 years ago. The 1 milligram dosage through Keeps. So generic, and it switched manufacturers one point during that time, but 7 years on that, and my island is definitely shrinking. It's getting smaller, but the recession hasn't really gone much deeper, which is interesting. Okay. So it's mostly just that front. It's interesting to know. Okay. And I did try So and I got on name brand about a year ago just to try it out, and I will say I'm pretty good at not falling victim to placebo effect or whatever. I did notice a very strong sense of brain fog and depression when I was taking it, and so
interesting.
Maybe that would go away with some time, but it was pretty intense, and so I just switched back to the generic. So I'm on that.
That's interesting. I mean, it's not great.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's interesting.
Yeah, and so I just kind of figured, this is, I don't know. I'll just stick with the generic for now. So I'm doing that.
Listen, I've just started on name brand. We know that name brand is consistent, but there are great generics out there, like we always say. So if you're doing well on something, I'm of the belief never to switch if you're doing well on something. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's encouraging. I think I'll probably just continue that. I'll keep an eye on the manufacturer, but they haven't changed it in a while. And then I'm doing oral minoxidil, about 3.75 per day. And I think that's made a improvement in the overall volume of my hair. Hasn't made a huge impact in terms of growth, but I have my hair long, and I kind of push it forward and spray and hope for the best, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. It's I live my life, brother. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when you say overall volume, it hasn't had any growth. You did have some growth. That means that you're at least some of the miniaturization is reversing. There was some growth stimuli, some of the hair had some growth stimulation. Otherwise, you wouldn't have more volume. Do you know what I mean?
I see. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So essentially, the existing hair that you have that was probably miniaturizing, that maybe you weren't getting the best effects from finasteride, this helped to stimulate some more growth.
I see. Yeah, I think, that makes sense because it has improved the quality. and it's allowed me to rock this kind of fake hairstyle thing a little more comfortably, or just I don't have to put as much product. I can kind of like just use a little bit of hair fibers, and I'm like, well, push it forward. Doesn't look too bad, but it still feels like a Band-Aid. That's the problem.
It is a Band-Aid, and I live under a Band-Aid. That's just the way that it is. I mean, I got guys in the chat room saying I have a John Bolton hairdo. What am I going to do? This is the choice. This is all I got to work with, and I feel so grateful that this is what I have.
Yeah. So do you feel pretty content with your hair looks great. I mean, if you're able to do that comfortably, I never
said it was comfortable.
Your hair.
Yeah. No, don't get ahead of yourself there, buddy.
Yeah. But,
how do you feel, Spencer? I'm curious if, you're on vacation in Italy and you're on a boat with, some smoking babe and you're like,
he doesn't do
outside.
vacations.
No boats or no vacations.
I see.
No. I mean, I'll take a vacation, but it's not like I'm not a boat guy. And I had a friend who got married on a boat many, many years ago. And he wasn't really a close friend, but he was kind of acquaintance. And I didn't go to his wedding because he was on a boat. Now, I've changed I've gotten better over the years. So I will do stuff like that. I just wear a lot of hairspray. Or, worst case scenario, I will borrow the captain's hat. But
or show up with your own.
Yeah. But I'll walk on board either like Gilligan or the skipper. But that's an old reference. But I was
thinking more of an Afro wig, so you show up like Isaac.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's so racist. But I don't think about that stuff. I'm at a point in my life now where, and I've been single for a while again. When I go out or I meet somebody, they kind of know. Like, I'm basically like a black woman. You do not touch my hair outside, especially. And that's just the way that it is, They know what I do now. I mean, it's all over the place. Anyone who you meet now Googles you right away. So they're curious. You got to explain shit. Unless I don't give my real name, which I've done. But I try, it's not great. I'm never completely comfortable. You have to kind of give them the talk. Like, hey, look, this is what I have to do. I've been balding for 40 years. I take this medication. This is a quasi comb over. Got some hairspray. Let them feel the hairspray. And that's it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's...
there's a long answer to your question, but that's just... what are you going to do?
Well, yeah, and you got status. You got major social status in this industry. So, I feel like that could help. You're an authority. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm like the guy for this. I feel like the ladies would like that, but no, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. It still doesn't, like when I wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, thinking about it, it doesn't help that I have status, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, no, and maybe you're more content or you're more capable with dealing with this. And I think you do have more hair than I do, but still for me, the Band-Aid situation.
You guys will never know how much hair I have.
I know.
I think I think Joe's seen me in the morning, not in a weird way, and he's also seen me on camera testing his equipment.
Hey, it's 2025. There is no weird way now.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
Saying.
No homo. But I think Joe is probably the only guy in the industry that's really seen, for the most part, what's going on.
Joe knows.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's right. Joe knows.
Joe knows.
But anyway, I'm okay with the Band-Aid approach, but I've been doing this for a while.
But how old are you now? You're young, right?
So that's ish. Yeah, I'm 35. I'm almost 36.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound like you're like, oh my God, I'm 36. That's so young, brother. And
man, it doesn't seem like it. It really doesn't.
No, I don't know what you do.
Just be glad he didn't say 60. Okay, come on.
It's becoming a drink. It's becoming a drinking game in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. 60.
But you are super young, so these things are going to be on your mind even more than they are on my mind, because it's still something even though it seems like because of social media, hair loss is so much more acceptable. People are talking about it. Women see guys talking about it. Women see, like, the toupee queen and guys getting pieces and going to Turkey. But they also don't understand, like, the limitations of that. And it's not just like a quick fix. And you're still never exactly what you were before you started to lose your hair. Like, once you cross that line, there's no coming back completely from it. That's just the way that it is. So while there's a much more, understanding or interest that it happens to much more of an understanding that it's very prevalent in our society. Women kind of get it. They also think now that it's an easy fix. But it's also something where we can talk about it a little bit more. When I was young, you could not talk about it. I started in this game, and I started my show where I wrote my book. I was young. I was younger than you, a lot younger than you. And it was like, I was like a freak. Like I really had to come out and just take all my shots. Friends, family, it was tough, man. Anyway, enough about me. Go ahead.
What do you think?
No, that's
What do you think about me?
pretty awesome.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, both you guys. Well, I think about you guys. I'm like, if I can kind of get to where you're at when I'm at a similar age. I mean, if I look like you, I'd be pretty stoked. But
yeah, I'm
right
glad
now,
you include Joe in that because otherwise he get his feelings hurt.
No, I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Newbies come to your show all the time, I bet, and they go, "Why are these guys talking about baldness? They're not bald." So,
Well, I think the first reaction
No.
is partially that, or they'll say, "Nice wig," or they'll make fun of our hairlines. Yeah, it's always some bullshit.
That's what I get is why
Right.
is he talking about needing a hair transplant? Because that hairline, like you got to get a telescope to see it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
yeah, to these guys, it's like anything more than 1 inch above your eyebrows. If your hairline's more than 1 inch, they're like, "Oh, why are you not in Turkey right now?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have this one reel that has like 13 or 14 million views on Instagram, and I mean, I don't turn off the comments, but brother, man, it is brutal. All these kids are like, I'd rather, because I'm basically telling the truth about derma rolling, and that particular hair day wasn't the best, but it was okay, it's still good. But it really showed my recessed hairline, especially in this corner, and these kids are just brutal. They're like, "Oh yeah, good advice from a bald man." Like your hairline saying bye bye. Why you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, and let me tell you, the Indian kids are the worst. Those kids are brutal.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, the stigma in India can be a little harsh too with balding, but
Oh, I'm sure. But
it
man,
is.
I didn't understand the culture that much until at least the young culture, until these kids come out. I mean, these are some of the nastiest commenters I've ever seen. Anyway, that's just a little information that is unnecessary to bring up. But anyway, brother, you are 35, 36 years old. You're able to hide your hair loss to a decent degree, but I understand why you're not satisfied. This is something that you think about all the time, I'm sure.
yeah, I mean, it has dominated my thoughts, really. I mean, and so I have considered getting a hair transplant, but every time I get close to it, I get cold feet. In fact, about a year ago, I had a procedure booked, and then I just couldn't do it, man. It was like this thing was stopping me internally, and it's just, and then I've run myself ragged over the past couple of years, like between, oh, I'm too scared to do it, and then, oh, if I had just done it right, like 6 months ago, I would be over the moon right now. I'd be so like happy with this. I'm like, I should have done it. Oh, like I'm too scared. And it's like this back and forth anxiety loop that's really paralyzing.
I get
So I'm
that.
trying to figure out a way out of it. Yeah.
We're at peace, man. Shave it.
Yeah, respect to Landon Donovan. I don't know if you've seen him, but he just started wearing a piece. Professional.
Oh, yeah, the soccer
World
player.
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
He's rocking hair.
It's funny though. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, he's pretty severely. I mean, he's a full-blown Norwood, never coming back, and he also has kind of a little retrograde or thinning sides. These pieces really need to be. I mean, none of these things are one size fits all. And what a lot of guys do, or what a lot of these, they call them artists now, do is they put these really full heads of hair on these guys, as opposed to thinning it out, showing some scalp, maybe, creating a little bit of a higher hairline or more recessed on the sides to kind of meet their temporal points, so it looks a little bit less like a hair hat. I'm not saying he looks bad, because he looks fine, but I could definitely see it could be improved a lot to the point where he's even more comfortable. And
Interesting.
a lot of these guys, I mean, they're just, I don't know, I don't understand these stylists. I guess it's easier for them just to slap on a stock unit without finessing it for these kids or for these guys. It doesn't make sense to me. Because I've seen them when they were finessed really well, like this guy that I know, Kent Emmons. He wanted to get a hair transplant. I talk about this all the time, and I put his name out there because he's come on the show to talk about it. He's a pretty well-known guy, very well-known here in Los Angeles. And he had an opportunity to get on television, and he contacted me. He said, listen, I'm going to be on TV. He was a radio guy. I want to get a hair transplant. I'm like, when are you going to be on television? He said, 4 months. I'm like, brother, you can't. That's not going to work. He's like, what do I do? I said, the only thing you can do is get a piece. He's like, I'm not wearing a rug. And I told him what he needs to do. Essentially, he needed because based on his extensive hair loss, the miniaturization on the sides of his scalp, I said, order something that's about 50 to 60% density. It's going to look thin. People are going to see your scalp, but it's going to give you a good facial framing, and it's going to look like you basically have a full head of hair that's kind of thin. Well, he did it. He had it cut in. It was unbelievable how good it looked. You could not, he went on TV. You could not see it at all because you were able to see his scalp. You can see through his hairline to some degree, and he has blonde hair. It looked incredible. Now, he ended up getting a hair transplant later because he didn't want to deal with the piece. But he wore pieces for about 4 or 5 years. And I would be at parties with him, and he would say, hey, this is my hair guy. And his friends were like, well, what did he do? They didn't realize he was wearing a piece. Yeah. They thought I somehow fixed him. So that was a long story to tell you that, these things could look good, but sadly, the way they're being presented online today, it's kind of like a one-size-fits-all situation. And it doesn't have to be. But that's a choice for you, which I don't think you're even considering because it would freak you out, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's for me right now. But I get that, it's something people could consider. And, it doesn't feel much different to me than kind of doing the Band-Aid hairstyle, which I'm doing right now. So I don't,
it might be easier for you to get up in the morning and not have to constantly put powder in your hair and spray it and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you're able to get away with it and still look good right now with your topic or whatever you're using, then that's fine. And, if medication is working for you, you said you lost some ground, but now you're on low-dose oral minoxidil. I mean, who knows what you're going to look like in a year? Like if you were 20% better just from medication, would you be comfortable?
I think so, but I don't think that would happen because I've already been on it for so long. It seems kind of like.
When did you start using oral minoxidil?
About 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago or so.
I think you told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I think it's kind of like peaked, or I don't know.
So are you calling to ask us permission for a hair transplant?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
This is what I'm asking.
All right. Joe? You going to give me your permission?
I don't recall your medical history as far as preventative meds, but if you've been doing the right thing, I do give you permission to move forward with one if that's what you want to do.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Well, he's been talking about he was vacillating. He had a something set up. He had surgery set up, and he got cold feet, and it's just this constant anxiety. I get that, man. I mean, this is for real. This is surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like a friend of mine that lives nearby. He's 45, 44, he's 45. And he's known about the quality of surgery that's out there for at least 8 years. And that's when I first met him. And that's when he first started looking into the surgical option. And he's high strung. Like he is, he overthinks things. He does vacillate like you're talking about. He's finally pulled the trigger with an appointment to have surgery. And I kept pushing him off of it. I'm like, and not saying you're not ready, but asking him questions that would make him stop and think, and he would stop himself from moving forward with pulling the trigger. And that was the whole strategy. And I got him to the point where he's finally like, you know what? I got to shit or get off the pot. I can't keep racking my brains like this, literally losing sleep over it, not knowing. I have to at least try. He's like, I know it may not turn out. I know it may be, I might need to come back for a second surgery to add some density if I'm not happy with that, or if I'm not happy with the height because the doctor designed the hairline. I wish it was a little bit lower. He goes, you say it'll be fine. It's a good design, blah, blah, blah. But I have to try it. It's like, okay, I'm not saying anything else. And we'll see. He's going to do it next month. He may still back out.
That guy's going to be on Reddit any day now.
I know. I know.
All right, brother. Well, anything else?
Thanks for the thoughts, guys. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, and Spencer. That's very much appreciated. And I'll let you know if I get a hair transplant. You'll know.
Well, yeah, let us know. But dude, I'm telling you, I know you don't want to do it, but you could always just throw the piece away. You can't throw a hair transplant away.
Man, very important thing to bring up.
Yeah,
and
get a little partial, fill in that Jude Law gap, see what happens, and then you'll be like, I just saved a lot of money and the potential of being disfigured.
That's true. Just need to find a gal that's cool with that, and then good to go, I guess.
Dude, if you can't find a gal that's cool with that, what's she going to say? Oh, my God, he's wearing a piece? If she doesn't know and you look good, it's going to be all you. You're just going to have to sit her down. It's kind of like telling her you got the clap. You got to just sit her down and just let it rip.
Yeah, just own it.
Just own it.
Just own it.
Own the clap.
As if it's not a problem.
Yeah. Do they call it the clap anymore? Anyway, guys, we're going to take some more calls. Brother, good luck.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good talking to you, Alex. Bye.
See you, man.
Bye.
Phone number 888-659-3727. I mean, I don't know. 35, 36 is still so young. I thought it was old when I was that age. I was already doing this.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so young, man.
It is. I can say that now.
No, I mean, there's so much potential there. And, we all waste so much time in this hair loss thing, feeling like he said, if I could find the girl who could deal with that. The fact that that's our problem, as opposed to us just trying to feel good in our own skin. Like, instead of us just saying, hey, I want to look good when I look in the mirror, or when I go to work, or when I'm on the subway, if you're in New York, whatever, or, whatever. You're out and about going to the bars. And it's about how I feel in my own skin. And then we always have to throw that monkey wrench into it. It's like, what are other people going to think about us? And I'm guilty of it. That's why I didn't go on the boat. I missed this guy's wedding.
That's pretty good, actually. I've not heard that one before. Maybe you told me at one point.
Yeah.
But that's a good one.
I'm like, how can I go on the boat back then? I actually was I on finasteride yet? I'm not even sure if I no, I don't think I was. I don't think I started yet. I mean, I was in the initial throes. I already lost my hairline, from what it was. I still had a lot of hair in my head, but it was really placed well with a lot of hairspray. And it would have been terrible. I'm wearing a suit, and I would have had this crazy, like, windblown hair.
Mm-hmm.
Could not have been comfortable. There was no way to make that happen for myself.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I didn't even send them a gift. I just decided to ghost them. Okay? It's out.
Haven't talked to him since.
Yeah. This guy wrote me off. So if he's watching the show, now he knows what I was dealing with.
Now he knows.
Yeah.
Now he knows. Good stuff.
All right, we had no calls, so we can just go. I mean, even though we started late.
That's fine. I'm actually, I got more studio work to do.
But there's
Putting
something
more things up on the walls.
There's something that you don't mess with it. It looks so good.
No, the other wall.
Okay.
The other wall's untreated. Yeah, and the ceiling. I got to do things to the ceiling too.
I mean, I'm going to put you on full screen here.
Yeah.
It's just sharp. I mean, if you wanted to add lights, that's fine, or you don't have to. But it just really looks clean.
Someone in the chat room was saying it looks like I'm running 8K cameras because he's never seen anything on YouTube so crisp.
It's super crisp.
Nice.
It's like your lighting in the back. It just made everything look super crisp.
I'm wondering if also my connection is better. Same package I had before the previous place I had my studio, but it could be better quality signal. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, let me see. I'm going to do side by side on YouTube and see. This is really delayed here.
About 7 seconds.
But yeah, here, you look super clear. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I think it's partially the lighting. You're brighter as well, so that's going to come through the sensor and it's going to make things look more clear. You may have a better connection coming into me, and the background is super crisp. I think sometimes what happens is when there's a lot of light coming in, like you had blue lights, I have that too. Sometimes that could kind of make things it kind of makes things look a little more diffused.
Well, one thing I'm not doing, my box lights on, I don't have my overhead and I don't have my the other studio lights I had going. I had one behind me. I had a overhead light for fill, and then I had my box lights facing away, but at full intensity. Right now they're at 13%. Low Kelvin at 3,000, and that's the only light in the room. That's it.
Well, it looks good. And Rob Hellner, let me just put this out there. I read a few of your comments today. You can go, fuck yourself.
Ooh.
This thing, I'm just kidding, Rob. Actually, I don't care. The Bolton thing is a little, I mean, come on, that's harsh, guys. But whatever.
Robert says, I lost my sound?
No,
my sound's fine. What happened to the camera that zooms in, Joe? That's going to be set. Okay, someone else says the sound is out. What's going on?
I don't see that. I hear you just fine.
Yeah, no, I hear it.
So no sound from me?
Separate...
He's saying no sound from me. No sound, period.
Hold on. Waiting for you.
Check.
No, there's your sound too. It's coming through. It's coming through just fine on my separate YouTube feed. Watching the show as if everyone else is. So yeah, no, our sound's fine. Yeah, Rob says it's back now. It never left. Anyway.
All right, so maybe next time
let's go.
Maybe next time we'll actually do like a show like we're supposed to do. We kind of just were fucking around today.
We were?
I don't know. But I will say, I think the upgrade is really great. I am excited
Thank you.
to do some more stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's got me psyched. I'm not changing anything, I decided. But I think just looking at what you've done, it really makes the show look better.
Well, thanks. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
So,
all right, brother. Guys, until next time, listen, follow Joe at Joe Tillman Official on Instagram. I'm at Spencer Kobren. My follower count has just been stagnant. Goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit. Goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit. I've got to put out a little bit more compelling content, I guess, for these kids. But if you're not following me on Instagram, do that. Also, I have a TikTok account now at Spencer Kobren. You can follow me there. It really helps just to follow us and to like this video, to subscribe to Joe's channel, to ring the bell, or do whatever you need to do to get notifications. That all helps.
Well said.
We're doing this for nothing. We're doing this so that Rob Hellner has a place to come on Friday nights, basically.
We do this for your hair-free speech.
That's right.
Right.
I know. I get it.
I will say, medical disclaimer: we are not doctors, and what you hear us say on this broadcast is not to be taken as medical advice. If you have any questions regarding hair transplant surgery or hair loss medications, do consult a qualified physician.
There you go. All right, guys. Until next time, be strong. God bless. Thank you so much for listening, and watch my YouTube stuff. Well, that's coming soon as well, but watch my Instagram stuff. All right. Do me a favor.
All right.
See you next time.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the